doing a thorough needs analysis before the course starts is really important. You need to find out why your students are learning English and how they have to use English in their workplace. So that could be an informal interview you do in the first class, or you could design your own questionnaire, including all the different areas that you want to find out about. I think it would be best if you just do a combination of the two. And why not ask the students to take you on a tour through the business in English, and they can show you the different departments and what they do, so you find out a little bit more. But it's really important that you know exactly why your students are learning English, what level they have, and how you can help them in the best way to do their job in English. Another important thing to remember is to establish a little link between the classroom and the home study time. Sometimes you have small classes, not everybody can always come because people are busy, sometimes they have a deadline at work, so you have to be flexible and you have to be prepared that not all your students will always make it to class. So think about ways that you can establish a little link. For example, setting up a Google spreadsheet with your class or for your class, so you can record the work that you've done in class and any homework, or links to resources on the internet, so students that could not come to class can still access this information and catch up. I think maybe even have a WhatsApp group if that is possible, but of course try and be professional with it. So remember, profile picture. But it's just another way to communicate with students outside class, so they can feel free to ask you questions and to stay up to date with what is going on in class. One good idea that you could incorporate into your teaching is using coaching ideas. So coaching ideas are activities or tasks that you give to your students that they usually have to do in a group setting. They practice their decision-making skills, problem-solving skills, and communication as a team. And the nice thing is that the task is actually almost distracting them a little bit from the language, but they have to use the language in order to do the task. This is really good because in the end, this is a lot more closer to real life than any other classroom activity from the average course book. So have a look. Maybe there are lots of websites online where you can get inspiration, and try an idea out with your class. And then of course incorporate some language work into it afterwards and some good error correction. You should also really raise your own awareness of intercultural communication and what that means for your students. Most of your students will learn English in order to communicate with other non-native speakers. And so they also have to be aware of the other person's cultural background and how that affects the language that we use. So raising your own cultural awareness of, first of all, your students' culture, but also maybe the culture of people that they encounter in their business is really essential. Culture is so closely linked to language, and it plays a big part in how we express ourselves and how we do business, but also the language that we use when we do that kind of business. So this is really something that you should get your head around a little bit. The last point that I think you should consider as a business English teacher is the whole discussion on English as a lingua franca, and sometimes we call it ELF. And what that means is that English really is spoken or used by a lot of people, and the majority of those people are actually non-native speakers. And the main objective is to communicate effectively. And so there is an argument for maybe saying that absolute native-like grammatical accuracy is not necessary in order to have successful communication. So, for example, having the exact right question tag is not essential in order to do successful business. So this is something you should consider and also discuss with your students when you teach them. Okay, these are my 5 essential things that I think every business English teacher should consider when they're planning their classes and teaching. And that's all for now.